everyone, and welcome back to the Land of Wanderers, where in the last episode we properly moved to the end and built up our first mega base. Now this is just the beginning. We have quite a lot of work to do before we can properly say that we're inhabiting these lands, but the base is a good start. We still need to fill it in, but you know, one thing at a time. Now what I want to do in today's episode is twofold. You'll notice here that this land is all moss. And we're going to be using a lot more moss to actually bring this place back to life. And all of this, when I gathered it in the last episode for this platform, I mined it all by hand and it took like 2 hours. So we're going to have to build us a moss farm for the first time, and it's going to be like around here somewhere so that we can have a good source of moss to actually expand and fill out our land here. But what I want to do before that is actually get some friends to the end. We're going to be moving some villagers over here. Now, I have a plan because this is going to be a little bit complicated. You may have noticed that we are not on the main end island. We're on the island that's where our first end portal is. And the reason that I didn't build it in the main end island is just in case in the future I wanted to resuscitate the dragon and kill him some more. I didn't want to have all of our stuff where it could be destroyed. So we moved it here. Problem with that is we have quite a bit more distance to actually move the villagers to get them to our base. So here's the plan. Dried ghast. Or happy ghast, I suppose. Now, I already tried putting happy ghast through the end portal, and it's a no-go. He's way too big. But I'm pretty confident that we can get a dried ghast and have him grow up here in the end. Then he'll just be native to this this dimension, and then from there we can use the happy ghast to move villagers. So we'll be able to have the happy ghast move the villagers from the main end island to this island here. So without further ado, I suppose we should go ahead and get ourselves another dried ghast. All right, so here we are back with 8 ghast tears and some soul sand, so we should be able to actually craft a dried ghast. I believe this is the recipe. There we go, dried ghast. And what we're going to do is I'm going to plant them here where our base is for now. And this should be safe. And actually, let's make it an infinite water source so we can use it later. There we go. He made a little sound. So he should be preparing to grow up. I think it should take about 20 minutes. So what I'm going to do is we're going to hide ourselves in the corner here. I'm not too worried about this because they're supposed to stay within the area and just roam around when they grow up. So I'm just going to hide myself here for now. Let him grow during the time it takes me to take a walk in real life. Let's go see the outside. Nice smog, dude. All right, I'm back. Let's get rid of this. And I hear some little ghastly cries. There he is. It works. And he's happy. Cool. I just now realized that I didn't bring anything to build a harness, so we're gonna have to pop back into the overworld and grab that. But we got our lift for our villagers. Let's go with lime. I think it'll fit nicely against the purple kind of sky in the end dimension. There we go. And I think we have everything we need. Lime harness. All right. Let's get some snowballs. Then we're going to go and put the harness on him and wait for him to grow. And then we're going to fly him to the main end island so that when we bring the villagers over, he can pick them up. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the ghast that we have at the station over there and get 2 villagers from the hole in the wall that I breed them in and put them in boats and then tie them up to the ghast and then fly them over to here where the end portal is. So then I think once they're in the boat, I can at least take the ghast to lower them down into here where I can let them drop through the portal. And then once they're here, we can take the new ghast and have him bring them over to our island. And once they're in the island, then we can just breed them up there and it'll be a lot easier. So we'll only have to do that once, but we're going to probably have to do it with more zombies in the future because I'm thinking have an iron farm where we just left, but if we're going to spend a lot of time in the end, it might be worthwhile having our farm here so that it can work while we're working here. Hello, little buddy. Now we wait. So while we're waiting for him to grow, I think I left some moss carpet somewhere around here. Yep, all in here. What we're gonna do is, for the interior of our main building, I'm just gonna cover up with moss carpet so that we don't have any endermen spawning in here. Just because it's my personal quarters. We can easily remove the carpets once we need to place more blocks down, but at least this way, the inside of our base should be spawn proof. Oh, he's a big boy now. There we go. Nice. Okay, let's fly him to our main end island. So that should be 0, 0, so somewhere that way. And we have a lodestone here with a compass in my ender chest, so it'll be a lot easier to actually come back. And we're looking at the coordinates. We're just about 1,000 blocks away. So despite the gas being pretty slow, it shouldn't take too long to actually come to and from the main island. And yep, you can see there, that's our like portal to get back to where we were. We're gonna go ahead and park this guy here. I know he won't wander very far, but still, it's nice to know that I won't have to look around for him. There you go, guy. Let's go get our villagers. Okay, welcome back. We now have our villagers, and I took the occasion to actually bring in some mobs, and we stuffed them underneath there for now. We got 2 cows and 2 sheep, so I'll be able to breed them up and get some more of their goodies. If you go down here, I've actually put down quite a bit more beds than you probably saw in that time lapse, and somewhere in here, we've got all these carrots, so I'm gonna just leave these out. As you can see, they've already started to breed up and make some babies. I think something happened to one of them because there's an iron golem somewhere around here. Where'd he go? I just heard the clanking of a golem. There he is. Is he attacking the enderman? Yeah, he is. Oh, he just attacks them even if they're not aggroed? Oh, hey, that's really interesting. For them, did they attack the villagers? Is that why he spawned to begin with? Apart from spawn proofing, we might have a way to actually get some guards for the village here. Well, village, whatever, the tower. Anyways, neither here nor there. I want to give these guys these carrots so that they can breed up in the background, and we'll give them some jobs later. And it's actually been quite a while since that last clip. In fact, as you can see, I have 24 ender chests here. I've been kind of organizing this a little bit more, or starting to reorganize it a bit. Taking inspiration from Linksy and Etho. So I've kind of trying to get like something that makes sense for me going on in here. So I got my rockets here, some food here. This is all lighting blocks. Storage, it's empty, but it's going to be like chests and stuff. I got some grinding done for getting at least a stack for now of all the villager workstations. So we'll be able to like set these guys up with some jobs and have a first kind of trading hall. I've never done that before in Minecraft. That'll be fun. But anyways, in the beginning of the episode, we mentioned a moss farm, and we're not doing it. I just don't feel like it. What I actually want to do is, I think I know what I want to do in the tower here, so we're gonna get to work on that. I don't know how much we'll be able to get done for this episode, but it'll be fun. And if we look into here, it might give an idea as to what I'm planning. That one's not very descriptive. Neither is that one. Here's some wood. Last one's a charm. Here we are. So we have books, bookshelves, and more books. I think it would be really cool in this tower to have this be like a library, but not only that, I'm kind of longing for having a place to settle down in this world, in the end dimension specifically. So I want to have some kind of structure in here filled out so that I can have a place to like settle down. Because right now I just have some chests laying around everywhere, but it kind of feels like I'm always exposed. You can see I did start off doing some organizing here of some stuff. I got a little door here to a little secret hidey hole where I'll breed up these guys a little bit later. Here's a good place I think for some little micro farms or some stuff to get us started before we build up actual big farms. So usually when I build up like builds or bases, I always end up putting in a bedroom, which just makes sense for like having a bed and putting your stuff in, but can't sleep in the end. We'll go boom. So what I'm thinking is this tower, I'll try to pull off this right here where on this level here where the bridge is, we could have like a big room, which is essentially like our office, I suppose. So eventually we will have a big storage room, but I'm not ready just yet to like get a big one in. Especially with the copper golems coming and the shelves and whatnot, I'm kind of hesitant to get started just right now. So I'm going to wait a little bit more and maybe see when that does come out. Maybe we can get some maybe we can use some copper golems, we can use some shelves, and mixed in with Impulse's item sorter, because I don't think that's going to go out of fashion for what we're going to want to do. But for now, I think I'm going to have an office with some little knickknacks I'm going to want, as well as some storage, at least as we get the ball rolling for our end dimension base here. And underneath it, so down here, we could have like this kind of spiraling kind of library. All right, so let's look at what we got done so far. I have just got like some groundwork done and some planning for the rooms and whatnot, and a little bit of detailing, but it's not final at all. You'll notice that this is mostly just oak. We're going to be adding some more wood in here, but I used oak just to like plan out the builds. So let's start from the bottom, and very quickly while we're doing this, I'm doing like a kind of switch to how I do my episodes, and I guess just the future of this world. So I love Lightmatica and Axiom. I think they're awesome mods, and I'm going to stop using them. So the build, the tower, and the whole base itself was planned out in creative mode using Axiom, and then we copied it over with Lightmatica. Well, I filled in the blueprint, but I'm not going to use them anymore. So this interior, I'm kind of doing it on the fly, and I'm doing that because I'm going back to school. I'm still going to have to keep working at my job. I want to spend a lot of time with my fiance, and I still want to keep on doing this, but obviously we're going to have less time very soon as school starts over again. So I want to make sure that the time that I do have to play Minecraft and to do videos, that I am enjoying it. So I love those mods, and they allowed me to make some really great builds, but I really do not like the part where I am just copying over the blueprint. And with the schedule that I'm going to have, I don't want to find myself into a loop where for 2 weeks, every time I get on to play Minecraft, I'm just filling in like the blank, right? I think I'll get really bored of that. So with this, I can kind of just like, maybe it'll take longer, but every time I play, if I like discover a new technique or whatever and do my builds, it'll be exciting every time. So I'll still go into creative to like maybe test out some palettes and stuff and maybe some redstone's ideas, but I'm not going to like fully flesh out a build in creative and then copy it over. We'll keep that for actual in-world activities. Anyways, we're going to be building a doorway here. So this is the front of the tower. So on this first floor, I don't know how we're going to lay it out exactly, but I think this could be a pretty good place for an enchanting setup. I think it'd just be cool at the bottom of the tower underneath the whole library. And then leading up, we have a spiraling staircase. We're going to have a second floor, I suppose, right here, which is going to be the first floor of straight up library. So I think I'm going to do a mix of bookshelves and chiseled bookshelves, but maybe what I'll do is I'll have predominantly bookshelves to have it be colorful and filled in, but as we advance in the world and need more place to put our handwritten books, then we'll replace them with chiseled bookshelves and put in our own books in there. And I think we'll do the same on the second floor. I realized doing this that I actually would have quite a bit of space for storage in here, for bulk storage, but I think I'm going to keep that for the actual storage system that we're going to build later on. So anyways, so 2 levels of libraries, a level of enchanting, and maybe some other knickknacks. Maybe I could do enchanting and potion brewing down there. We'll see. Up here on this level is my office, which is in line with the bridge here. So we got kind of a layout and some details starting to come in, but we'll flesh it out some more. I'm going to add in some more colors and at least some more variation in wood. I'm working a lot more with oak and birch. With this being in the end and it being dark, this lightens it up really, really nicely. And it goes really nice with these chiseled bookshelves as like accents. Add some more of that in later, but I just wanted to get some ideas down. So we have these like pillars, which are a mix of oak logs with chiseled bookshelves placed backwards. We just get the textures here. We have some here, some bookshelves here, which is my little reading place with some semi-hidden lighting. We'll come back to this a little later. And I want to mostly hide all the blackstone, not the blackstone, the deep slate. Basically the exterior walls I don't want to be exposed. Maybe we'll just keep this basalt archway. So these pillars work really nice to do that. But I couldn't find a way to like have this nestled in here to kind of mirror this shape and hide the wall. So I moved it out and we have a painting. So this way it really feels like an interior that is separate from the outside, which I really, really like. So obviously, as you can see here, we still have some work to do for like here. I don't know how I'll pull that off, but what I did here was, even though you can still see through it, the plants pretty much hide the deep slate, which I think is really, really nice. And at first I had another pillar here, but it looked kind of odd. And the plants add color, it hides the deep slate. I have some hidden lighting here, and overall I just really like the effect. So yeah, we'll be able to have our staircase coming up here to the office. We're going to redo the floor. Obviously this is all just oak slabs for now, but we'll make it look a bit nicer. Up here I think is where we're going to come up to a little mini storage area. So I'm thinking some chests and some barrels here. And I think we're actually going to extend this to the other side. At first I was going to leave this open. I think it's kind of cool when you have those rooms, kind of like in cabins or lodges where you have like a second floor that is only like a semi-exposed kind of, which was the initial idea for this. But I have another thing that I want to do that I think I'm going to have to extend this a bit, but we'll see that when we get there. These slabs represent where the ceiling is going to be. So yeah, that is my thought process. I just want to bring you guys in a little bit for that. And one final thing before I get back to building, if you're watching this video, thank you. You'll notice that the title contains Land of Wanderers. So when I started this out, I thought it was super cool to have some lore and a story behind it. I kind of let that go to the wayside, but like, you know, with my change of skins and whatnot, we are trying to have some kind of lore and story behind this. So to keep on with that theme, this here is the part of my office where I have my books. So right here we have a book of ideas. We'll look at that a bit later, but notably in here is where I'm going to keep a bunch of custom books that are more that aren't like enchanted books. They're really ones that I handwrite things in. So up here we have, my inventory is a mess right now, an old to-do list that we had. And over here, let's see what's this one is. Oh yeah, so we have the end revitalization logs, which actually I think we're going to rename. We're calling the end revival log. There we are. So the end dimension revival logs, where I'm basically just going to keep a journal of big things that we do in the end. So you can see here when the last video was posted on the 1st of August is when we had the EnderBase complete. We're missing the interior, missing extra functions. On the 3rd, we immigrated villagers and a few mobs. On the 4th, we bred the villagers and some mobs. And yeah, so we're pretty much filling it out. Maybe by the time this episode is done, we can add another entry for the interior, saying our office is done. And I think it's pretty cool. So even if we're not going to go hard on lore, we'll have some, because it influences how I'll build some things. We'll at least have some history, and I think that is pretty cool. Okay, are you all ready for this? Yeah, come inside. Let's start over here. Like I said last time we spoke, we just had the groundworks down, but we have a little bit more variation in color. I've swapped out the floor for some birch to lighten the place up even more, and it's just feels bigger. It is pretty big, but it just feels even bigger this way. Now over here, I don't think this has changed very much, but like my little workstations with a picture of Pringles to cover up the wall, and I think it looks really nice. We got another plant here with some lighting to hide the wall and hide this little hole behind the stairs. And we've pretty much just filled in like the walls here to continue with this design. We've extended the second floor of the office here with this little roof design, which is like, all of this I think is relatively simple, but it's like just detailed enough to be nice, but not overly detailed to be like really busy and annoying, I guess. I like details, but lately, I guess in real life and in Minecraft, I've been liking it when things are clean and it just gives me peace of mind. And this place kind of gives me that. There's nice greenery, it feels lively, but there's no clutter, and I like that. So to go down the stairs here, you'll see that the actual library itself, we've got nothing done. I have been breeding up the cows so that I'll be able to get more leather and get some more bookshelves, but that'll be for later. For the railing here, I went with this design to kind of call back to what's going on to the bridge, and we're going to let this all oxidize, so it'll take a while, but eventually this is all going to be green. So imagine that here. And instead of using the birch here, we use the copper to make it a bit smaller so that I can still see past it when we're walking around the office. So going over here, you can see it opens up a little bit to the ceiling, and I've gone ahead and doubled this this bookshelf. So I guess I wasn't quite sure what to put here. So doubling up, it looks nice, and we'll have more space in the future to add more books, which since this is a forever world, then, you know, we have plenty of time. Hopefully. And looking at the plants here, I did the same thing on a few of them, not all of them, but you can see that I've used composters for like the middles and doubled them up as well for the top. And maybe use your imaginations a little bit, but the composters like in the middle here and the top kind of feel like they're more sort of braces, kind of like if the plant was passing through the middle. And this is just a piece to keep it like a little bit more together and to stop it from falling over. And I think it looks nice. Does it make sense? Heading up to the second floor over here, we have some more storage here for some books. And I think what I'm going to do is all these are actually just like empty books. So this will be my storage for empty books. I'll fill this up eventually. And when I need to make a new book in Quill, I'll grab them here, use them, and then once they actually have writing in them, we'll transfer them over to that wall. Use some more chiseled bookshelves for the stairway over here. You can kind of see the open texture from here, and I would prefer if I could find a way to not have it, which actually I'm being dumb. We can. Give me a second. As I was saying, chiseled bookshelves here for the stairway look really, really nice. Heading up to the second floor. So heading up to here, we have a little hidden composter here and extending the plant design. Kind of make it like go through the floor because I didn't know what to put in this corner. And up here, it's a bit less detailed than downstairs right there, since this is my storage room and I don't want to sacrifice storage for looks, at least for this part, because I know I'm going to fill this up relatively quickly. We have a few double chests just outside that are full of crap right now, so we're going to need this storage. So we got this wall here, which is kind of like supposed to look like a cupboard with some storage here. This one's, I guess, technically hidden, and some drawers here. Same thing for the pillars here. A bunch of double chests and some single chests for some stuff. And we've got some doubled up trapdoors to kind of look like a cool shelf. And we have an extra ender chest that opens up with a crafting table, just so if I need to craft something up real quick, or I don't know, for some reason, maybe I want to craft something into a full block before putting it into storage, I can do it with the crafting table without having to walk down there. So yeah, like I said, a bit less detailed, but I like it. I really like this railing that we've done. And same thing up here for the roof, or the ceiling rather. A lot of wood, but I think it really fits the vibe of this place. And we've got some sea lanterns here as some lighting. Like just kind of seeing them ties into the bridge and gives us a little bit more of a techie kind of feel, like a subtle technology-ness that I think goes well with the base. And we got the copper grates to kind of cover up, exactly like on the bridge. And of course up here as well, we're going to let them all oxidize to be green, although I think I like these ones being orange, so we're going to actually wax these ones. Alright, so I left a few of them untouched, so maybe I'll let them weather just a wee bit to have some variations, but I like my things looking clean. Oh, I just smacked the mic. But I think that's about it for the office. Now, for the library, that's going to be a project for a future episode. I am going to need way more bookshelves than I have right now. Like this place is kind of humongous. And I only have this many bookshelves to my name, which is why I've been bringing up the cows down there, but I'm going to need more paper, and my sugar cane farm has done me quite well so far in my world, but it's only been to make rockets, Now that we're making a bunch of bookshelves, it's kind of seeming kind of flimsy and it's having a hard time to keep up. And it's in the overworld, so the whole time that I've been here, it's not even been running. So we're going to do that another time. I'm losing my voice and I want to get this episode out before going back to school. But yeah, I'll likely get a whole bunch of bookshelves off screen for next episode where we can get to work on the actual library downstairs. But anyways, enough of that. Thank you everyone who made it this far for watching. I will see you in the next one. There will be a next one. It might just be a bit longer than usual, you know, just to give me a little bit of time to get settled into my new routine. But we will be back, and I'm looking forward to it already. Thank you for watching. I'll talk to you guys down in the comments, and let me know what you think of my office. Have a good one. Have a good tail end of the summer, and I'll see you guys all in the next episode. See ya.